Hey, jaded like you anticipated. Hey, haters gonna hate it, and yeah, it's X-rated. Let my words get you faded. Jaded. Mano, vamos ficar jadeada. Vamos lá. Hey, we did it. We did it. We survived. This is episode 5 of Jaded. It's coming out on Easter, so happy Easter, everyone who's religious or anyone who loves chocolate. That's what it's about, right? Easter is just, I guess it's like when Christ was reborn, but it's really just about shoving chocolate in your face and being like, well, they told me to. All these holidays that are made up are the best. My mom was always really, really good about making like everything really special. She used to do this thing like whenever I lost a tooth, she would, make like a little letter as if it was from the fairy and it was all like glittery. And for Easter, she would do this thing where she would spill flour over and then put little bunny footsteps everywhere. So it really felt like there was like this bunny on the loose hiding chocolate. Isn't that funny, the things we remember as kids and we're like, yeah, that's a real memory. Like I remember my dad telling me that I was tiny enough to live in his pocket. And I felt like there was like a memory I had. I was like, I was so tiny that I lived in my dad's pocket. Oh, guys, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who's been listening. I know it's been a little bit all over the place, but we're figuring it out as we go. It is such a journey. Nobody tells you. I'm thinking I'm just going to show up and spit into a mic, but guess what? It takes so much more than that. So thank you guys for supporting me through this whole adventure. We're trying to get up there. We're trying to be a podcast that people like and listen to on the weekly. And I hope you're listening to this on your way to work or wherever you go, wherever you tell your family you're going, and that it's enjoyable and it lifts you up. E todo mundo brasileiro que tá ouvindo, obrigado. You'll never know what I said in Portuguese. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you. I'll probably put captions on there. Today's caffeine is also from Hey Hey, but I switched it up. You can't, I'm not that person that's like, I'll have a number 4 every time. No, not me. I like to switch it up. This one is a green tea mango and it tastes like perfume, but it's doing its job. I don't like floral flavors, where it's like lavender. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to eat flowers. I just want to smell them. But I've been, really thinking about, being a woman in comedy specifically. And this is something I did not want to talk about for a long time because, I've always looked at women who spoke out about being mistreated as like, they're being naggy. They want the attention. And finally, I've come to terms with my own inner misogyny. Okay, this is how I got there. Let me back it up. I've had an obsession with Queer Eye for the Straight Guy since it first came out. I think it came out like in the 90s or early 2000s. If you haven't seen Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, it's like 5 gay guys that come and help these, straight cis males do these makeovers. And now they're opening it up and, doing women and doing all these things. And they had a reboot of it. And let me tell you, any show that's like several gay men with any kind of special but like good skills at anything, I'm a sucker for it because it makes people realize, that they need a little help sometimes in their life. And one of the episodes, I'm sorry, let me back up. They also have another show called Say I Do, where these gay men help these people have a wedding, okay? I don't love weddings. It's not my thing. I used to love them, but then my heart was broken and it just turned everything dark. But they help these people get married. And one of the couples was these 2 gay guys. And one of the gay guys was closeted and he didn't want to be gay because all of his associations with being gay were negative. He didn't think that gay people were strong. He didn't think that gay people could kiss in public. And he felt this real inner shame. And he realized that he had this inner homophobia for himself. For so long, when your family is going, gay people don't exist, gay people aren't right, you start to feel those things. You start to feel like you're not right and you're invisible. And I realized that for a long time, like women in comedy, I kind of looked at them as a lower form as well. And so I realized that I looked at myself as a lower form. And how can I expect an entire audience of people to be home listening to me and supporting me when I myself have like a little bit of hate for myself? And by a little bit of hate, I mean a whole lot of hate. And I realized that, just growing up with comedy, I just wanted to be a part of the boys club. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? The boys club, there's good men out there. I'm not saying that all men are shitty. But having this discussion with men, I think stresses them out because they don't want to be at fault. They don't want to be part of the problem. But there is so much systemic misogyny within comedy. It's almost hard to make it go away Because for a long time, it's just like, you don't want to be on the girl show. Girls suck. But I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want us to go like, no, women are good and women are strong. And I want to be on the girl show. I want to be a female comic and not cringe every time somebody goes, this next female comic coming to the stage. I can barely talk. I'm so caffeinated. I don't even know what camera I'm looking at. I'm like cross-eyed. But I'm just starting to like kind of want to be braver about this subject matter and, talk about my experiences. They weren't easy. I mean, for a long time, it was just like, I got really lucky that I worked her. That's the only way I think I could have gotten in. I mean, I ate shit so much that, I don't expect people to be like, oh, she was good right away. But I do want people to know like, hey, if you're a woman, don't get discouraged just because it's a little harder for us, because ultimately when you get to the top, you'll know that you had to work that much harder to get there. And I'm going to start working on not hating women so much on my own. And this is why I think we started to hate each other, okay? One, there's not enough spots for women. There's not. I don't care how much men go like, well, but there's not enough women coming out and women aren't putting in to, get spots. Women feel rejected before they even try. Well, I don't know if all women do, but for me, like I feel rejected sometimes and I don't even want to try. If it feels too much like it's a boys club, I'm like, I want to save myself the rejection. So one, there needs to be more spots for women, because guess what? If there's only 2 spots on a show for women, I'm not going to fucking help another woman out. I'm going to get that spot for myself. I'm sorry. And other women should too. So if there was more spots, we would not be as competitive with each other, perhaps. You know what I mean? So like women supporting women is number one. Like there's trolls out there. Like there's these dudes that say really dirty stuff to me, and it's like expected from dudes in a way. But when I see women hating on other women, it's like, come on, bro, who hurt you? Like take that inner hate and shove it into your pussy. I really got to start pre-writing more stuff for this podcast, you guys. I want to go on free thought, but sometimes I'm scared of myself. I'm scared of the stuff that comes out of my mouth. Okay, number 2, women need to stop blaming men for all this stuff. It's up to us to make a difference, okay? We got to support each other. Like, hey, maybe women should take more women out on the road. I take a couple women out. They're hard to follow because they're fucking great and we have similar bits. But I think it's up to us to kind of change the mentality and go, it's not up to them to make us look cool or sound cool or feel validated. It's up to us. So join me in this movement of stopping hating ourselves. Does that make sense? Does any of this make sense, Sam? Yeah. And hopefully there's a shift, and hopefully, once clubs open up, more women will feel comfortable. And like dude comics, guess what? A female comic isn't hanging out with you to fuck you. I mean, she ultimately probably will because she'll get bored and think it'll help her, but there's not. The best thing I ever did was start comedy with a boyfriend. Like having a boyfriend just kept me in a weird safe zone of like, you could try, but it ain't gonna happen. But it's a new development, and I really want to let go of all my preconceived notions of female comics and female comedy. I don't know where it started, but I'm sick of it. And I have this weird Stockholm syndrome where I don't know if you guys feel this way, if any woman feels this way, but there's all these dudes that don't agree with me, that don't want to hear my story about it, that are like, no, it's fine, and I defend them. I have this weird Stockholm syndrome for these bros that have like put me down all these years, and I'm like, no, but he didn't know better, or like he had a tough childhood. And it's like, stop making excuses for other people that treat you like shit just because you want them to like you. Like, guess what? I don't care if people like me anymore. I'm just kidding. Please like me. Please subscribe to my Patreon. I think that's when things turn, when you stop giving a fuck. Honestly, like what other people think about you is none of your goddamn business. My friend told me that once. That's like a religious thing, just like, it's a spiritual thing. Stop caring what people think about you, which is so hard because my entire dependency of doing well is people liking me and people laughing at me. Just a twisted thing. Like I want people to respect me, and yet I need them to laugh at me in order for me to succeed. Stand-up is such a weird mind fuck, you guys. And you think as a stand-up, everyone gets it and everyone understands what it's like to get up there, but they don't. I think that public speaking is one of people's biggest fears. I read this thing once that it was like more people are less scared of like a shark attack or dying in a plane crash than speaking publicly. And the fact that, there's women out there even brave enough to say what they've gone through is so fucking great. I mean, I don't mean to make this podcast about like, oh, women abuse, but it's got to shift. I mean, even as kids, all of my friends that I've talked to, all their earliest sexual experiences were like kind of rapey. And it's like, how is that cool? Because we just want to be liked and we want to be accepted. So we're like, I guess I'll suck his dick. Don't suck dicks, you guys, until you want to. Okay? Just do it when you want to. And if they don't like you, too fucking bad. Anybody who's like still cool from their high school days and their high school things, it's like they're fucking losers. So just move on. But God, I've just been loving feelings lately. And I don't care. I'm not sorry for it. I like feeling feelings. And these like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy Say I Do type of shows, that is cry porn for me. I don't know if anybody else is into this, but sometimes I just need to put something on and cry so ugly. Just, Sometimes I'll look at myself in the mirror when I'm crying. I'm not going to lie. That's such a narcissistic thing to say, but I just need to see my own pain. And I look so fucking ugly when I cry. I love people that just have this kind of cry face where they're like, and then just one single tear runs down their face. Just, Aida. It made me think of that. Heather Hanley, if you're listening to this, which I know you're not, but if you are, I love you. You're my everything. She played Aida on Broadway 21 years ago, like 3 days ago, to the day. Man, I love these men makeover shows too, because you get to see how little these men have to go through to just get ready. Like, I mean, just getting out of the house for us to be human beings, we have to do so much stuff as, people who identify as women. Like, there's so many steps, like when I get up, I crimp my eyebrows. I crimp my eyelashes. I mean, like I have to like I take a metal thing to my face and I just so in case, if I leave the house without my eyelashes curled, God forbid, I won't make it. It's important to do these things. I just want to give up with all that stuff. I just want to not care at all. Just fuck it. Just give it up. Men barely have to do anything. I feel like this podcast is just turning to me complaining about men, but right now that's how I feel. So I'm just going to go with the feeling. Watch, I'm going to get a son. That's what I'm going to get. You always get the thing that teaches you the most about yourself. And I'm going to have a son who's like into sports and stuff, which is my biggest nightmare. People are scared their kids will have disease or, have some kind of, disability. And I'm like, I hope my kid doesn't like sports because I won't know what to say. That's my stomach growling. I've only eaten a boiled egg today. So you're welcome. But these makeover shows are so funny because it just takes such a minimal amount of time for a dude to get ready. And my biggest pet peeve is when men wear sandals. Like, I don't want to be able to see your toes, dude. You know what? I love like a leather sandal that's like a little dressier. You know what I mean? Like very Greek. But just random sandals when we're not anywhere close to the beach, sir, put away your feet. You're not getting pedicures. My perfect man would have no toes. He would not really be able to walk. He would just stumble towards me and I'd be like, come here, come to me. I wonder how men feel about their toes. By the way, if you haven't gotten your toes sucked, I recommend it. I thought it was a gross thing, but just post shower. Have I talked about this? Post shower, just somebody just a little lick to the toes. It's important and it makes you feel special. On this Easter Sunday, make sure you lick your lady's toes, everyone. I thought that every episode I could shout out a woman's brand because, why not? I'm trying to support women. I'm trying to shift my own mind about hating women. So shout out to Isley, New York. They did this really cool necklace and they sent it to me, some earrings. I love it. This woman has a child and she's running a company. That is fucking crazy. You're running a company while milk is pouring out of your nipple. You can do this. We can do anything. Women are so powerful. Just not comedy. They're just not as good as men for comedy. I mean, that can't be right. That can't be right. I'm just sick of it. Why do we feel like we need to be liked? Where does that come from? Maybe it all starts in school and how they do public schooling, right? You're taught to have to get good grades and to compete with other people. We're never taught mindfulness. We're never taught, teamwork. I mean, sometimes you get partnered up with someone and, you just cheat off their homework or whatever, but you're never told that mindfulness is important, like breathing. I wish I went to school and I learned 1, how to do my taxes, 2, how to invest, 3, how to wax my body properly, and 4, work with other people and like help other people versus feeling competitive with other people all the time. I mean, do you guys ever do this? You wake up and you're feeling good. You're like, I got enough sleep. And then you open up your Instagram and you see somebody's like successful thing. And instead of being like, fuck yeah, it's possible, I could do that too, you go, oh my God, no, I haven't achieved that. I'm a piece of garbage. I should go, and then you're just stuck in bed for the rest of the day. My thing is like, if I don't get out of bed right away, like within the first 10 minutes, it's over. The depression monster literally gets to me and it's like, and I'm just out and I'm just looking at Instagram the whole day. Later in life, we're going to figure out that social media is fucking us up, you guys. P.S. I'm a brand new auntie. Give it up for me. Can we put an applause here? Thank you. Thank you. It's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. My little sister had a baby. Her name is Amelia, but I call her Peach because that's the name I wanted. So I'm going to enforce that. And it's been the most exciting thing ever. She's so tiny. She came out of my sister. And now that it's like I have a baby niece, even more reason to change my mind, to shift my mind about what kind of a woman I want to be and what kind of an example I want to make. Isn't that funny how you make a baby and then you're like, now I don't want to be a piece of shit anymore. It's time. I wish I just didn't give a shit about what other people thought or what other people felt. I feel like I'm empathetic, too overly empathetic, and I don't use it enough for my benefit. I just like if I saw a stray dog once, we made eye contact and I couldn't catch it, and it crushed my heart for the rest of the day. It crushed my heart. And people who buy dogs, that really crushes me. Because, I stole this one from a friend. That's what you should do. You should either adopt or steal your dog from a friend. You shouldn't buy a dog. And I know people do it, and it's okay. It happens. And, in a way, you're saving them from the breeders. But just try not to buy a dog. There's so many stray dogs out there. And now people's dogs are getting stolen. That's fucking crazy. Lady Gaga got her dog stolen a few weeks ago. It's like, who is stealing dogs? Is it a gang initiation thing? It's like, yo, bro, tonight, you better steal 3 dogs or you ain't part of this gang. Like, what? What do you mean? Can't he prove himself in another way? Like, I don't know, slashing someone's tires or like shanking someone? By the way, I always thought that shanking meant, I thought that shanking meant when you pull somebody's pants down. Like that was the term in Virginia. And I pulled someone's pants down. Joe Peebles, by the way. I'm so sorry, Joe. We haven't talked in years, but you were my buddy. I pulled his pants down in gym class and like everything was out. He wasn't wearing underwear. And it was when like guys wore mesh shorts and you could just see their dicks like all the time. Like I miss when guys just wear mesh shorts. I love an outline of a dude's dick. It's great. But I pulled his mesh shorts down and he wasn't wearing anything and everyone saw his dick and stuff. And it was embarrassing and horrifying. Obviously, it's not what I meant to do. You know when you pull a prank or you do something and then right away you're like, I regret this. So that was one of the moments. And I pulled his pants down and I went to the principal's office and he was like, what happened? And I go, well, I shanked Joe. And he was like, what do you mean you shanked Joe? I was like, I pulled his pants down and everyone saw it. And he was like, oh, Jesus. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's not that bad. Don't do that again. I was like, okay. But shanking, it's like one of those prison terms. I've been obsessed with people's prison TikToks. First of all, how are you allowed to have a phone? How are guards not catching this? People are making these full TikToks about how to like make a meal in jail. Like, you crush this and you make that and you like take ramen mix and it's like they're making like gourmet prison meals. And then, people have full relationships in jail through the toilets where they'll like take all the shit water out of their little toilet, roll up a magazine, and they'll talk to them like through the toilet. And they won't even know what each other looks like. But, it's a whole new, it's like farmersonly.com, but for people who are incarcerated. That's got to be a trip. You come out of jail and it's like COVID and you're like, what the fuck is going on? You had no idea that this was happening. And all of a sudden you're like, put me back in jail. Like, I don't want to be out here. And P.S. I have gotten half vaccinated. Ching, 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 ching. And I feel like I've got that vaccination confidence. The other day I went to get my dog's teeth cleaned. And I just stepped right up to the woman. The woman was like, oh God, Jesus, you know, but I just feel like now I can't die. Or can I? I don't know. Please tell me I can't die. I don't want to stay up all night today just thinking about it. I would love to just step into somebody else's shoes for a second just to see how peaceful and or crazier their brain is. Like, I want to do a Freaky Friday with someone who's just real chill just to see what that feels like. Also, can we not make another remake of Freaky Friday? We get it. I love that they come up with a different way that it happens every time. Like, this time the spirits aligned and, you know, or the moon was like at the right spot, or it was magic. Like, I miss movies like that were just like about the dumbest things. Like, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. What a great fucking movie. I still remember, I kept thinking about like, oh, the babysitter's in that box. They never really revisit that. Like they didn't kill the babysitter. The babysitter like died of old age, we think. But like everything is so sensitive now that we can't even make jokes on like such specific things. I don't know how I want it to be. I just want us to make jokes that don't hurt people. That's all I want it to be. Like, we can be funny and not be mean. Right? Is that possible? No, I'm just kidding. Fucking asshole. Put this in the montage of me sipping my drinks. Perfect. I just have 20 minutes of me sipping my drinks being like, how much time do I have left? By the time this episode airs, I will have done my very first road gig back. And you know what? I'm fucking frightened. I'm scared. Shows are getting better. It's fun to get up on your feet and have your stage legs slowly come back to you. Like jokes just slowly come back to you. And you're, oh, there it is, you know? People that don't do stand-up, I don't know if your brain happens this way, but I was talking to another stand-up with this. Steve Martin wrote about this in his book. When you're a stand-up, your brain completely splits in two when you're on stage. And, you know, not bipolar, but just splits in two. One half of your brain is totally on stage and watching everything that everyone is doing, you know, looking at people's tits and, you know, making jokes about that. And then your other half of your brain is like way ahead of time. It's like, what's the next joke? Like, how am I going to close this up? Like, how do I get off the horse, you know? And it's so crazy because I think my brain does that in regular life where like, I don't know if I'm ever really present, you know? I wish I was just more in the moment. Recommend me things that you guys do to become more in the moment besides like smoking weed all day, every day, which I can't do it. I would be high right now, but then I couldn't think of anything and my eyes would look like shit. I get one lazy eye. I'm just like this. Like if I'm tired, I'm like half of my school pictures, you can tell that I'm just like this. And having an immigrant mom didn't help with that, you know, because she'd be like, your eye's ugly. I'd be like, okay, let's go fix it. My mom was a total hypochondriac. I think that's where I get it from too. You know, I just get these voices in my head and it's like, if you don't clean this, you're gonna die. So next time I make you take your shoes off when you get into my house, just know that it's not because I don't like you. It's just because the demons tell me to. Somebody told me that they named their anxiety. They'll go like, no, Judith, not today, Judith, you know? But it's crazy because it's like, what do you trust then if you can't trust your thoughts? Like, do you think your thoughts in your gut fight within yourself? They're like, no, think this, no, think that. This episode was really supposed to be about, you know, breaking apart the patriarchy and misogyny. But guess what? Maybe I'm not ready for that. Maybe I'm scared of the change. Maybe I'm scared of having a voice because I don't really know what the fuck I want to say anyway. How's everybody doing today, by the way? I haven't asked. Oh, and by this point, also, my Patreon page is up. It's really exciting. We had our very first Patreon sign in. Pew, 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 pew. And, you know, we want to get it to a point where we're making our own videos and making our own shit. And it just comes directly to you. Just directly into your feed from my feed. And that way we can be virtually connected, 69ing in a virtual world. I found this artist that does all this like scissoring art, which is so fun. None of my lesbian friends say they scissor. Isn't that like a sad, sad story? You know, a lot of them have dogs and get together very quickly and all those stereotypes are true, but then no scissoring, no tribbing. People don't even know what tribbing is. I think the dictionary definition of tribbing is like just clit on clit, you know? But a lot of women that are together don't do it. And I'm like, do it. Honestly, if they would let me like rub myself against a tree, I would do it. Should we cut that? There is a thing that people are horny for trees. That is, what is that called? I'm going to put it down here when we figure it out. Something.
I don't know.
Well, you know what? Shout out to all those tree fuckers out there. I'm proud of you. Become one with nature. Good for you. The last time I did mushrooms, you guys know what happened. I broke my tailbone and was like depressed for 6 months. So I'm just going to keep on taking mushrooms, but not going to tube at the same time as I do mushrooms. But I'll save my mushroom stories for the next app. If you guys hang on tight, there'll be lots of mushroom stories coming on. But I guess the lesson in today's podcast lesson, if you're a woman, let's help each other a little more. Let's support other women, whether you're like highlighting female brands or just like not talking shit about your friends to each other. That's another thing. Like, we feed on gossip. You know, gossip is so exciting. Tea, spill it. I want it. We like gossip. I love gossip. I mean, I want to hate on it because I think it creates a lot of negativity and a lot of like tension between people. But I just want to know everything at all times. And if you don't want me to know something, I want to know even more. That's why I'm trying to just be an open book. I almost wish that there would be like a leaked photo of my vagina out there just so I could be like, yeah, that's it. It's not that different from everybody else's. It's like, that's it. You've seen it. Can we just like move on now? By the way, I had no idea really how to use Reddit or how to be on Reddit. And I went on Reddit the other day, and whoever is doing my Reddit stuff, thank you. I didn't know that there were so many half-naked photos of myself on the internet. And I'm proud of it because, as you know, I'm a dedicated Zumba person and I do Zumba hard. But hopefully things are changing and the world is shifting towards a more equal place. Also, if you're a misogynist or a racist or anti-Semitic or any of those things, I hope that tomorrow morning when you wake up, you have a pube in your mouth and you can't find it. It's like one of those phantom pubes from hell, that one's revenge, and you're just all day you feel it. Where is it? Can't find it. And the only way that you get rid of it is when you stop the hate. I think hate starts with ourselves. I mean, it's taught. Hate is taught. You know, your parents are like, don't like that kind of person or don't do this type of thing. And you go, yeah, that's, you know, so we got to stop teaching hate. But hate comes from fear. And fear is a primal instinct that we're born with. It's in the lizard part of your brain, the reptilian part of your brain. We used it to defend ourselves when we were cave people, you know? But guess what? We don't need that part of our brain anymore. I wonder if they'll eventually come up with something where it like suppresses that part of your brain. I mean, you'll be slow to respond, but you won't have hate, hopefully. Just all this stuff that's happening with like all the shootings and stuff. It's like fucking nuts. Maybe we just got to stop selling guns to crazy people. It's like if a guy comes in and he has like, he's missing an eye or like he looks intense, like don't sell him a gun. Are there any things that you have to go through before you get a gun anyway? Or can you just be like, I need one? And they're like, here you go. You should have to do like an American Ninja Warrior type of thing that you have to go through before you're allowed to purchase a gun. You know what I mean? And you should be like, do you like this kind of person? Look at this photo. What do you see? And if they say anything hateful, it's like, you're not allowed to have a gun, buddy. I don't know how people could do it. The worst thing I've ever done was, I told this story when we tried to do it with a guest, but the worst thing I've ever done is my sister and I, we didn't know about lightning bugs in Brazil. We didn't have that. We came to America and we figured out lightning bugs were a thing, which they're magical. They're so beautiful. It's like, their butts just light up. They just have a highlighter butt. That's such a cool. Do you think that other bugs are jealous of lightning bugs? They wake up and they're like, your butt lights up? I don't do any of that. Anyway, my sister and I saw all these lightning bugs and we were like, ding, what if we like gathered a bunch of them, like hundreds of lightning bugs and just released them in the bathroom? It would be like a light show. You know what I mean? It would just be like a beautiful light show. And we're gathering them. We're putting them in these like big cups, you know, and then we release them. And then we realize like, how the fuck are we getting these bugs out of the bathroom? How are we doing that? So then we just had to murder a bunch of these lightning bugs. And I feel like anything bad that happens to me is karma from that one thing that happened. Like, remember when kids would take magnifying glass and like burn ants? I could never do it. I always give personalities to things, like everything. I'm over empathetic about everything. Like even sometimes when I choose to not wear a shirt, I'm like, hey, buddy, I'll wear you another time. That's not fighter mentality. I can't have that. I got to grow a pair of pussy balls. Pussy balls. It's the next big thing. Do people, I know a lot of people can still be born with a pussy and a dick, which incredible. But like, I wonder if people get, like if a woman has ever been born with balls. I feel like I want to do this thing that's like thoughts, like thoughts with Jade. Are any women born with balls? If so, let me see. I'm so curious. I want to see all that stuff. I want to see, like, I'm so fascinated about genitals and people who are able to just like show them and not care. Like, how do you not care? Is there a pill I can take? If there was like a don't care pill, or is that just called drugs? Is that why people feel drugs or take drugs? Because they don't want to feel anything. So I think a lot of my weird childhood development happened from like doing things way too early before I was supposed to. My very first kiss was when I was 7. I was still in Brazil. I was with a kid named Alex. That's creepy that I still remember that. And I remember he was like, we're going to kiss at lunch. And I was like, oh, what? So then we went around the playground, and I went in and I closed my mouth and he opened his mouth. And so when we kissed, it was horrible. And I felt him like lick. Like, I don't remember a lot from when I was 7, but I remember that. And it just like scarred me. And then he told everybody that I like was a bad kisser. And it's like, how are you supposed to be a good kisser your first kiss? What are you practicing on besides like your pillow and stuff? You can't help that. And then later in life, when I went to hit my first bong, like I was with my sister and a bunch of like older dudes, and I went to put my whole mouth around the bong. I was like, I was gonna like resuscitate the bong back into life. And my sister was like, Jade, no. Can you imagine if I would have done that? The nicknames, I guess they wouldn't have been that bad. Like, she tried to deep throat a bong. Remember when you used to make your own gravity bongs? Like, people never do that anymore. It's so crusty. Like, you used to take one of those big things of Coke and just like cut it and then put it in the sink in like dirty water and be like, I forgot my personality. Fun. Weed's the best. Weed is the best, but I miss when weed was not legal because that shit is expensive now. Anybody else? Damn, I am spending so much money on weed. I write it off because I'm like, I can't be creative without this stuff. But it's like the packaging is so overdone. There's so much plastic being wasted. We were talking about this the other day when I did Getting Doug with High. Little shout out to Doug Benson. I love you. Like, the packaging is so hard to open. Okay. Why? I understand that you need to make it childproof because it looks like candy, and like, we don't want kids to do a whole like Tide Pod thing again. You know, remember when kids were eating like Tide Pods? Don't eat detergent. Okay. But like, you're providing stoners with these packages that they can't open. Like, I'm trying to rip these things open with my teeth. And also now there's so many fancy brands of weed. By the way, there's a lot of women in weed, which is rad. The packaging never says whether it's like sativa or indica. It just says like Herbal Farms or whatever the name is. And you're just like, make it easier for potheads to get your product and to open your product and to figure out what kind of strain it is. It's too difficult. And I do Nug Club now, which is like a great thing. I don't work for them. I mean, I wish I did, but you get like a box of stuff, and I feel like it's Christmas every time it arrives. I mean, I go through it way too quickly, but it's just exciting to feel something. But I would love to have like a weed sponsor where I just get free weed. Like, I miss going to my guy, just getting a bunch of weed, like feeling sneaky about it. And have you ever gone through the airport with weed by accident and then you're just sweating and you're freaking out? I had a really crazy night in New York, and I like had a lot of drugs in my pocket, and I didn't realize until I was like through security that they were like in my back pocket. And then I threw them out. Like, I had already gone through the point where I could have gotten them taken away, but I got so nervous, and I'm such a fucking square pussy that I just was like, I better throw them out. Maybe we shouldn't say pussy anymore, because like, when I'm like, maybe we should be like, I was a pussy, and that's like a good thing. Like, go, yeah, be a pussy today. And you're like, yeah, I'm a pussy today. Pussy is such a fun word to say. I hate when people tell me that I can't say it. Like, the most offensive word you can call someone is a cunt, right? Maybe that's the thing. All our connotations with female things are negative. You're a cunt, you're a bitch, you're a pussy. Those are all putting us down. Maybe we take that power back and we're like, you're being a cunt. And you're like, yeah, I'm being a cunt. That's why I love being in Australia, because they call each other cunts all the time. Just cunt, cunt, cunt. Like, I heard an entire conversation in Australia where they're like, yeah, you cunt, you're a cunt, you're a cunt. And they were like having a real deep conversation. You're a sick cunt. You're a sick cunt. Australia is the best. Man, Australia is the best. I really got into this one podcast called Teacher's Pet. You guys should listen to it if you haven't. It's brilliant. I love murder mysteries, like every woman out there. But it was happening in real time about these two brothers that they both played, what's the Australian version of football called? What's it called? Rugby. They both played rugby, and they were like big deal rugby players, but they were also teachers. And basically they find out that these teachers were like grooming these students. And it was like a whole other scandal besides the other fact that he murdered his wife, like clearly murdered his wife and like buried her in the yard and was like, she left us. But the podcast is so brilliant and it's really dark. And, you know, he's like, you're really into it. And he's like, but then he just like has to do his branding, you know, and his like sponsorship. So he's like, murder's scary. You know what else is scary? Building your own website. Use Squarespace and you could murder the competition. And you're like, I'm on to you, bro. Okay, just because you said it with the dark music behind you, I get what you're doing. But it doesn't get any better than an Australian accent. Neva, Eva, Eva, Neva. That's my favorite word. You know, you have like always a word that gets you to do an accent. In New York, it's like, I'm walking here. That's so cheesy. That's the New York accent. I'm walking here. It's so fun to do. The Boston one is like, ear. I got something in my ear. And that's why I don't do impressions, you guys. You know what I mean? That's why I never got into that. I don't know. Sometimes when people do impressions, it makes me uncomfortable. I get a little bit uncomfortable because it's like half of the time I don't even know who they're doing. I'm like, I don't know why people are always so fascinated by them. I'm like, you're just doing a voice. But I get it. When people are really good, it's like, it's impressive. But half of the time, it's just really embarrassing. See, so it could be harder than doing stand-up. You could also want to be an impressionist, and that's doubly as hard. But it's just fun to do something where it's just not about you. You know, acting is so much more of a relief than comedy. With comedy, you have to use every little bit of your vulnerability and things about your life. And with acting, you can just pretend you're somebody else. I never understood why acting was hard for people. It's like a total escape for me. I'm like, oh, I get to take a break from my own goddamn brain for one day. Let's do it. And it's pilot season right now. Even when this episode comes out, it'll be the end of pilot season. And, you know, everybody will be feeling like shit because guess what? There's only like a few pilots that you can book. And so this whole journey is about me figuring out how to have some value from my life and the people around me and not from my work. Well, guys, this has been fun. Look, I'm ranting. None of this makes sense. I'm going to do a little bit more of an outline for the next one. I promise. I'm not going to do it. But thank you guys for supporting and listening. Please do all the good things. Join the Patreon page. I'm going to be doing a lot of really fun, weird behind the scenes. You know, it's not professional for me to have an OnlyFans, so I'm just going to treat it like it's my OnlyFans. It's going to be a lot of pictures of my boyfriend doing push-ups and stuff. So if you're into that, no, I'm kidding. And you know, subscribe on all the things you can subscribe on. And thank you so much. You got Jaded. Bye. Jaded. Mano, vamos ficar jadeada. Ah, vamos lá.